Namaste. Welcome to Bhakti Yoga Conference 2026. Sacred community, walking the path of love together. I'm Happy Jack, the founder of Happy Jack Yoga and our host for today. And this is our second annual gathering where we've got over 40 beautiful souls, from monks to scholars to musicians and spiritual leaders from around the world. Now, we opened this year's conference at Harvard Divinity School, and the closing gathering will be at Oxford Center for Hindu Studies. And really together we're exploring how devotion and spiritual community can support us on this path of Bhakti Yoga. As of now, we have over 6,000 beautiful souls who have registered for the Bhakti Yoga Conference, including Harvard students, practitioners of Bhakti Yoga, yoga teachers, and sincere spiritual seekers from around the world. And really, this is meant to be a space of spiritual friendship, of shared inquiry, of heartfelt conversation, and that's just what we have planned for today. If you'd like, please share a comment in the chat, the Zoom chat. Let us know where you're calling in from. And really, wherever you're calling in from, we're so grateful just to have you here, a part of this global Sangha. And now it is our honor, truly our honor, to welcome our guests today. I'll bring them on spotlight as I read their bios, and then we'll bring them off of mute. But let us get our three beautiful souls here. Dear brother Marz, Atreya Rishi, Andrew, Raj, so beautiful to have you with us. I'll read some bios here quick. This first bio for Marz, or Atreya Rishi, was written by his dear friend Navajalvana Prabhu. And so here just a taste of the past. Atreya Rishi Das, aka Marz Attar, first met Prabhupada in the summer of 1971. Atreya had a few years earlier graduated from Harvard Business School and was working in New York City as a successful account manager. Prabhupada told him to continue his occupation, but to attend the morning program and serve the temple devotees. Prabhupada quickly recognized Atreya as a leader, and in 1972 made him a member of the governing body commission of ISKCON. In 1973, Atreya, who was born in Iran, was offered an opportunity to set up an office of an international accounting firm in Tehran. He asked Prabhupada if he should do it, and Prabhupada encouraged him to go and simultaneously open a center for Krishna consciousness in Iran. Atreya established the first Hare Krishna temple in the Middle East, and twice Prabhupada came to visit the devotees in Tehran. Following the Iranian Revolution in 1979, Atreya's life was threatened, and he was forced to leave the Iranian devotees and all the properties he'd acquired, including a devotee restaurant and devotee farm. He relocated to San Francisco, where he founded the Bhakti Vedanta Fellowship and invited devotees to join him there. The Bhakti Vedanta Fellowship opened a small temple and 3 vegetarian prasadam restaurants at San Francisco. Bhakti Swarup Damodar Swami of the Bhakti Vedanta Institute joined Atreya, and they combined their visions for the Bhakti Vedanta Institute with the Bhakti Vedanta Fellowship. And I'm just going to share briefly a few photos. I didn't have the ability to do it at the same time as the bio, but just a few photos, blasts from the past. This is dear Atreya Rishi Prabhu, of course, with Prabhupada. I won't explain who everybody is. This is at the Henry Street Temple. You'll see Atreya Rishi in his suit, as well as Prabhupada and many beautiful devotees. Atreya Rishi offering Guru Puja to A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada. In San Diego, on a happy japa walk. By the way, Atreya Rishi, well into his 80s, has already been on a 4-mile walk this morning, so he's still enjoying his japa walks. Here is Atreya welcoming Prabhupada at the Henry Street Temple. Again, a shot of Prabhupada with Atreya Rishi. Here in India, on a japa walk, addressing the crowd, preparing them to hear from Prabhupada. Another beach walk. Happy, beautiful vibes from Prabhupada and Atreya Rishi. And just a fun one, this is the day that Atreya Rishi and I met 5 years ago. a small taste to the experience and the journey that this beautiful soul has been on. But I'm going to briefly do these because these guys got a lot of important things to share with us. So next up, Andrew is founder and chairman of the board at Oneness Family Montessori School in Chevy Chase, Maryland. He also serves on the board of the International Montessori Council and is chair of the board of Village Rise. For nearly 40 years, Andrew has contributed to the global Montessori community as a teacher, administrator, board member, teacher trainer, leadership consultant, speaker, and performing artist. Andrew has performed his original songs and poetry at schools and events across the globe, including many different places. And he'd asked that I didn't read them all. So we're so honored to have Andrew here with us. And last but not least, our dear friend Raj, who has spent his career being led by a question. How can people with different values, habits, and beliefs come together to nurture collective well-being? He is drawn to what emerges beyond conventional reforms in uncharted spaces where experimentation, humility, and shared learning may spark new possibilities. In this time of profound uncertainty, Raj supports people, including himself, in cultivating the emotional stamina needed to stay with the trouble together. Inspired by Douglas Hines' insight that the end of the world as we know it is not the end of the world, Raj invites a playful seriousness, letting go of certainties to hold space for the possibility of something truly relational to emerge. Such an honor to have these three beautiful souls. Please welcome to the Bhakti Yoga Conference. If you're ready to welcome Atreya Rishi, Andrew, and Raj, throw your arms in the air and loudly chant, Haribol! So honored to have you here with us. And we open with asking what brought you to your spiritual path. But these gentlemen are going to weave that into their offering today. Such an honor.
So thank you so much. Thank you so much for providing this opportunity for us to share our hearts with you and with your beautiful community. Of course, I mean, I have my history somewhat is relevant. So I want to give you a little bit of a background. When you mentioned that I met Prabhupada in the summer of 1971, I was already initiated. And I was already involved with the temple for 2 years. And the thing was, who brought me to the devotees? That's the key point. I mean, in terms of that who, it was a young man who was on top of the heap. He had the most ideal job you could imagine, in which he could do his own thing and at the same time tend to his spiritual needs. But he was feeling miserable. And he met devotees on the street.
Wow.
People in sheets and happy. So, you know, this thirst, the search for that happiness, that freedom, engaged me. But the main event was meeting Prabhupada, meaning the nourishment, the light I received from him. I call them major seeds that he nourished in me. And I like to share the three seeds, the three main seeds that Prabhupada, that really, you know, meeting Guru is where you shift from darkness to light. From scarcity to opulence. it is where you see a different world, a different possibility beyond the cheater world that makes you feel miserable. Wow. So the three seeds that I want to share, and I really want this conversation to continue, but the first one is that there is only one light, one truth, one religion. That seed happened actually when I was bragging to Prabhupada in Tehran that, we should be chanting Hare Krishna Maha Mantra because it is the most effective. And he laughed me off mentally. He says, don't make me sectarian. So truth is one, light is one. Yeah. And we are part of it. We are part of it. We are not, and we are eternal. So that was a seed that never left me. And the second seed is application of the teachings. Teachings are not just for teaching, for preaching. Is in the application where we discover ourselves. Is in application where we begin to live it. An example of application that is very important in this meeting is the teachings of Montessori, because it brings light to the truth, to the teaching, to the position of Jiva, how Jiva is part of God and has everything in him. And respect for that, and nourishment for that. So that's application. That's what application is. To be able to have discretion between light and darkness and find that light and use that light for a very important aspect of humanity's need, which is education, because the existing education is upside down. Yeah. And it's through this application, you put it upside up, where the soul gets empowered rather than dominated and imposed upon. So the third seed is, I think, is very challenging and very continuous, is the seed of appropriate response. Who am I? Why I am here? And what is the reality I'm facing? Letting this grow inside us. This is the practice. Wow. And I don't want to talk too much more. I just want to say about my beloved brothers here that Andrew is the one person I know who is single and has the largest family that you can imagine. Wow. Because he touches every soul. For 40 years, he's been practicing that. Wow. And their parents, and their siblings, and their friends, and continues feeding them and nourishing them with his songs, with his love. And Raj, I let Andrew take that over, but I like to hear what he like to share. Thank you very much for this opportunity. And I really also want to offer my thanks to all those devotees who supported our attempts to create an alternative economic base and an alternative way of relating with each other as a community.
Wow. Such beautiful words, Prabhu. Thank you so much. And many of your dear God brothers and God sisters will be watching this recording. They're looking forward to it. But I will point out that Brahmatirtha Prabhu, Bob Cohen, is on the call live with us here, relishing your words. But thank you for we'll bring it over to Andrew. And I just have to echo, Andrew, you kindly invited us to Oneness Family School last year, and Marz and I got to participate in some leadership conversations there and got to witness. I mean, the love, the joy, and just as I experienced it and I met these kids and these teenagers, I remember thinking, like, I wish I went to a school like this. I just really felt the love and the upliftment and the practicality. But please,
thank you.
We're honored to
Thank
have
you. Thank you so much. I remember that day really well. And Marz, thank you for sharing with us. And just to let everyone know, we're going to leave plenty of time a little later for folks to ask questions, things they're curious about Marz's story or the school or our collaboration. But I'd like to start by sharing a bit how I came to my own path. In 1985, I met my guru for the first time, Sri Chinmoy. Sri Chinmoy is from the lineage of Sri Aurobindo in southern India, and I was just very fortunate to cross paths with Sri Chinmoy. And I became a student of his formally in March of 1985. At that time, I was at the University of North Carolina in Chapel Hill. And shortly after I joined the Sri Chinmoy path, I wrote a letter to him asking him what direction I could go in my life, because I really wanted some guidance. And he apparently, I heard that when he got the letter, he meditated, and then he dictated a response. And in that, I won't share the whole response, but in the response, he said that perhaps I could become an educator of children, and that maybe one day I could start a school. And when I got the letter, it was such like it was like a beautiful starburst in my heart. It's not something I ever expected. And when I received that, a whole new world of possibilities opened up. And so I started really thinking about the different pathways to accomplish that goal. I didn't have any experience with children per se, or have taught other students high school. A follow-up question to Sri Chinmoy, and I asked him what pathway would be a good path for me to pursue when it came to education. I said there's the Rudolf Steiner schools, there are the Quaker schools, there are schools inspired by other people like John Dewey, etc. There are religious schools, and there are Montessori schools. And when Sri Chinmoy heard the word Montessori, he stopped and he said, Montessori, very good, very good. And so that was my direction. And as it turned out, Maria Montessori lived several years in India in the 1930s when she no longer could be safely in Italy during the reign of Mussolini. So Maria Montessori was an amazing person, and I invite everyone to read about her bio. But as I began to think about founding a school, first I needed some experience. And so I did a Montessori training. I moved from North Carolina here to Washington, D.C., and I started a career at the Barry School, which was the oldest Montessori school here in the Washington area, and did a training. And during those 3 years of working at the Barry School, I began to formulate my own educational philosophy based upon the principles and teachings of Sri Chinmoy's path, and also aligned with the Maria Montessori principles. And without getting too wonky today in terms of educational philosophy, I think what's relevant for our conversation today is that when I thought about education as it has evolved in the West, and especially in America, what I realized is that education is focused almost entirely on in an outward way. So what I mean by that is, studying the world in order to achieve mostly materialistic goals, which is to get a good job, to get certain status in society, to have a certain income, to gather things in your life, etc., to be comfortable. And nothing wrong with that. But what I realized is that the whole aspect of education that was missing is what I would call an inner aspect. And out of that grew a philosophy of creating a part of a curriculum called self-discovery. Self-discovery is something we all know who are on this call, I would guess, which is about the journey of you as an individual, traveling this journey of life. What is your purpose? What are you trying to accomplish? How are you connected with other people? How are you connected with the universe, right? And so that aspect of education, as it turns out, is very ancient, going back to the Vedas, right? Going back to in Western culture to the Greeks and the Romans, etc., and then in the Middle Ages and Renaissance. But that aspect is not really carried forward in today's world, except there are religious schools, there are different schools around the world that are doing amazing things, and you see lots of inspiration happening. And so we, meaning the Oneness Family School, is part of that family of Montessori and other schools that are trying to nurture the spirit of the child and help that child to discover their mission. Maria Montessori used words like the inner potential of the child, and the spiritual embryo was another term she used. And our job was not to put knowledge into their brains. Our job was to nurture their spirit, nurture their mind, but trust that inside each child was a spirit or a soul that was guiding them. And over 40 years, I have, as Marz kindly said, we've seen hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of students go through our school and be able to find their pathway rooted in sort of spiritual principles and values. And it's not just our school; it's Montessori schools across the world, and any schools that have this kind of focus. So it's been an incredible journey for me. And originally, when I started the school, I was very drawn to the idea that I could make a contribution. This would be my sadhana, and that is certainly how it unfolded. However, what I didn't realize is the amount of opportunity I'd have for a personal transformation. My own life became an opportunity to be like a child. And that was something that Sri Chinmoy often encouraged us to think of ourselves as. We're children. He said, think of yourself as a 7-year-old boy or a 7-year-old girl. So this journey of the school has been my own journey as well. And so that leads us to today and to the world we're in right now. And Marz used a very important phrase, which is the third seed that he mentioned, which is appropriate response. So what are we called? What are we called to think about and to do right now as educators and as parents and as conscious citizens of the world, given the state of the world right now? And I'm not going to go through the litany of what's happening in the world. We all know it, and we're all feeling it every day. So what is our job? Are we doing enough? Are we doing the right things in terms of educating young people and supporting parents and supporting teachers and school leaders? And so this question drew me to conversations with Marz and with Raj, who I'm going to introduce in just a moment, because I myself was feeling a deep query around if we are doing enough to prepare students for the world they're going into, for the level of complexity, the rapidity of the change, the amount of unpredictability that exists. And so, how do we bring students forward into that world grounded in spiritual principles and values, but also having an innovative mind and the ability to communicate and a dedication to citizenship and to know how to collaborate with others and to be able to see the problems of the world sort of dispassionately so they can contribute, right? So I've been very driven in the recent years by this question, and I've been very, very fortunate to reconnect with my friend Raj Chawla. And Raj, among other things, he raised two amazing kids who all went to Oneness Family School, went to my school, and then later became a board member, a treasured board member of the school. And then through his work in the world, which he's made many contributions to many organizations and nonprofits. And in recent times, he's been interested in the questions that I just raised. And I find a kindred spirit in Raj because he always invites us to go deeper into what are the causes of this world we're in, and how do we look at the problems of the world without looking at who we are, without looking at our own selves and how we're living, and so forth. So I'm going to turn things over to Raj with a great expression of gratitude to him and to Marz, because we've been talking now for a couple of years, especially this last year, about what is an appropriate response from an educational standpoint as we try to foster the environment for new leaders to emerge in the world. So I'll pause there and I'll turn things over to you, Raj. And again, a reminder, we'll have a chance for folks to ask questions in just a little while. Please, Brother Raj.
Thank you, Andrew. I just need to slow down just for a second and note how much I really love and care Marz and Andrew. Like, I'm listening to them and I can feel the love in my heart and I can feel the caring in my body as I listen to them. And as I'm witnessing all of you on this call, I can see your faces, I can feel your energy, and I'm present to the love that's here. And then when I presence that love, I feel grounded, I feel connected. So deep acknowledgement to this conference and to this call that we're having. So I'm not going to share much of my story, because I do also want to go into the appropriate response. But dear listeners, what I'm inviting you all to do is to hold on to the seeds that Marz offered. And that seed that there is one light, one truth, and one religion, and how that lives in all of us as we're in this conversation, that what is the application of the teaching. And for me, that is being with the tension, not the resolution, but the tension that the teachings offer me from my culture and my history. And then, of course, the appropriate response. And I want to offer what I believe is an emerging response that Andrew and Marz and I and others are creating. So I always have to start with what's actually happening right now. And I invite you to bring your own sense of what's happening right now, your own experience of what's happening right now. And I find myself in this moment of right now speaking from an in-between place. I have in me modern frameworks, modern sensibilities, modern ways of experiencing and making sense. I also have deep ancestral roots. I have deep ancestral traditions, and sometimes I feel like there's a deep river inside of me that sometimes I have access to and sometimes I don't. And so I find myself in between space as I think about an appropriate response. And all I can do is to share what I see. And, Marz will often say, what's the reality? What are we seeing? So here's what I see, and I invite you to bring in what you see. And so what I see is fragmentation. What I see is polarization. What I see is ecological unraveling. That there are many other beautiful things that are happening. All I'm talking about is in a large global sense. And what I'm speaking to specifically is our global organizing culture, which I call modernity. There are many other cultures that are alive and present and creating life, but we have a global organizing culture that lives inside me and that may live inside you. I won't say, but there is a tension. And so some people call what's happening right now the meta crisis. And because I'm in a place that I don't often say this, but I'm going to say it because of us on this call, that I'm holding this as a time of the Kali Yuga. And like, what is an appropriate response in the Kali Yuga? And so I have to then make my own understanding of what the Kali Yuga is, that it might be a moral decline, but the way that I experience it inside my body and inside my heart is that it's a forgetting of relationship, a forgetting of how to see. It might even be a forgetting that we've forgotten. And so here we are in a Bhakti conference. And Bhakti, the way I hold it, the way I understand it, is devotion, is relationship, it's surrender. And so then I might say that what this moment is right now is a relational crisis. And that we collectively have to stand in the face of a relational crisis. And the way that that relational crisis lives, the way that I understand it from our global organizing culture, is this notion that we are separate from. We are separate from each other. We're separate from our more than human kin. We are separate from our ancestors. We're separate from our land. We're even separate from ourselves. I'm not saying that's true for you all, but in general, I experience this notion of being separate. And then there's this other pattern of being in control. Because we are separate, or we live the belief that we're separate, we seek to control. And based on that desire to control, we seek mastery. That is a global organizing culture. And I will offer you that it's not out there, it's in me. And when I work with Marz and I work with Andrew, we just have to bring ourselves into this space as well. And that's the tension, because I know I want certainty. I want to be right. And I truly will have a difficult time listening. And while my desire might be to understand your perspective, because that's what the teachings tell me I should do, is to listen to other people's perspectives, I have a hard time listening. So all that lives in me. And I'll name one other tension that lives in me and perhaps in you. And it's the tension that if I zoom out far enough, everything is going as it should, that we're just in a cosmic cycle. And that cosmic cycle lives in nature: birth, flowering, fruiting, and death. It's just a cycle. It lives in my body. And maybe that's what the civilization is going through as well. Right? And the tension is also, well, we're here together. We have our own dharma. And what do? We just can't be passive. I don't want to be passive, but what's the right thing to do? And so that's a tension that lives in me. And that tension is what this offering is that Marz and Andrew and Patton and a few others have created, which is the Being Human curriculum. And I won't go into details of the Being Human curriculum. I'm happy to share that with Happy Jack and you all in the document that may or may not be of interest. But I want to offer this, that the Being Human curriculum is not an answer. It's not a solution. The way I hold it is an offering. And the way I understand it, the way my ancestors taught me, is it's an offering to Krishna and to do with whatever he will. Whatever will happen, will happen. And so my own practice is letting go of attachment. My own practice is letting go of my ego, thinking how great and wonderful I am. Right? That's just my own journey. And so the Being Human curriculum that we are off creating, and it's just an emergent offering, is moving from this notion of mastery to a remembering that we are all entangled with each other. We are all entangled with each other, with land, with ancestors, with our more than human king. We are entangled. And moving away from the notion of mastery to a remembering of reciprocity and balance. That there is reciprocity in how we engage in the world, and then there is balance. And then finally is from holding certainty and control to engaging with paradox and contradictions, which I believe is something we are going to have to learn as we go further into the Kali Yuga. So there are many things that we are doing, including the inner work that we're offering young people as part of this Being Human curriculum, the practice of holding paradox, a remembering of our relationship with land, a remembering of our connection with not only our ancestors, but our descendants. And how can we as adults create an environment that allows young people to feel these tensions, to allow them to experience these tensions with love and support and caring, not to give answers, but to allow their own inner selves to come forth. So that's the offering. It is just emergent. We are learning. So that's where we are.
I love that. Oh my goodness. So much wisdom and so much heart from all three of you. Thank you so much for sharing. I just want to share the last time the four of us were together in the DC area, you arranged for us to go on a little field trip, and we went into the nature, right, to connect with Mother Nature, and we went to learn. And the teacher we went to learn from was, I think, like an 11 or 12-year-old girl, and it's just a testament to the three of you, of that you're learning from nature, you're learning from the youth, and presenting these ideas not as the solution, but as a path, as an inquiry, as a conversation, and it's just beautiful. So shortly here we'll open up for audience Q&A, and I want to ask one question here, and I would not ask this question to anybody else, but I'm going to put it out there because I've had the honor of spending a lot of time with Atreya Rishi, with Marz, and he's very much a Shiksha guru and a guide and a mentor. And many times in our conversations, he, if I'm off track, he will lovingly remind me maybe there's a better question that I could be asking. And Tony Robbins has said to me many times, the quality of your life is directly proportionate to the quality of the questions that you ask. And so my question, actually, for the three of you is, what question should we be asking? You think about these spiritual seekers here, younger generation coming up, I do have, for the record, I've got a half a dozen questions prepared for you, but I just want to put it back. What do you think? What is the question that we should be asking? And you did hint at some, but whoever feels inspired to jump in first, what question should we be asking?
Marz, you want to go first?
No, go ahead. Go ahead, please.
Well, I would say that I would say that I like to go back to the existential questions because they've been at the core. I'm an educator, obviously, and they've been at the core of education, as I said earlier, since ancient times. So the question ultimately, to me, a primary question is always, who am I? And what is my purpose or role in this life, in this incarnation? on this planet, and those two questions are interrelated. How we answer the first one will impact, the second one, and so I will share a little anecdote, because this is, as I said earlier, at the core of Maria Montessori's teachings, the idea that every human has a purpose embedded in them, and our job is to nurture that, encourage each other in that purpose. And so I could tell many anecdotes, but the one that comes to mind is a little kindergarten girl named Elizabeth Johnson. And Elizabeth, if you're out there somewhere, love you so much and so proud of you. And I saw her one day in the kindergarten classroom, and I think they had like a little microscope or something. And she was looking at like a little piece of moss or something under this simple microscope. And I said, "Wow, Elizabeth, that's really so inspiring. You're so interested in the moss and in nature and in science." And she looked up at me and and she said, "Well, Andrew, of course, I'm going to become a microbiologist." And I said, "Elizabeth, there's no doubt in my mind. Of course you're going to do that." And lo and behold, by golly, what did she become? She got a PhD in microbiology from Princeton, and years later, when she was at Princeton, she came to DC as part of a big science event, and we took our younger students to see Elizabeth, who is now becoming a professor. So the point is that I think that's a central question. And it's much deeper, of course, obviously, than what is your career path per se. It's more about what's your sadhana, right? What is your purpose, etc. So that's for me where I always start.
I love that, and it's just aligns with what you were sharing earlier, Andrew. How the foundation of Montessori, right, is like helping these young individuals connect to their mission, nurturing their spirit, and I just beautiful story, beautiful question. Raj or Marz, who'd love to, if something comes up, maybe we don't have to always hear from all three, but if something is on your heart, please.
I can quickly share that what we are facing is extreme control, extreme violence, extreme separation, extreme fire, extreme fear. And so when I confront all that, you know what comes to me? Where's your relationship? What are you doing with your primary relationships?
Wow.
How present are you to what is in front of you? This is what Raj is trying to tell us, to teach us. To become a clean mirror for reality so that you can respond. Meaning those hearts, emotions, or desires shadow that reality through judgments which you want to see and avoid because it is an installed habit.
I want to not offer a question, but I want to make a challenge, perhaps an invitation to you all on this call and others who might be listening. So I wonder if there would be a place where people could, like an honest place where you might tremble. If you looked into your heart and said, here's the question that scares me, or here's the question that I find I have a hard time holding. And let's put that into the world. Let's share that with each other and allow that question to live, not with an answer, but with an energy that can move things. And I don't know, Jack, if there's a place for people to collectively offer and hold those questions, but it feels really alive to me that that could be possible here.
Wow, that's so deep. I mean, just when you said that, I mean, all of the offerings, but Raj, when you just said that, I closed my eyes and immediately got emotional and tears. And I don't know the response yet. I don't have the words, but what you invited was like, I think, where I need to go. And that's really our intention for this conference is to create a space and to create these friendships in this sangha to do this work. As Marz just finished saying, it's a purifying the purification so that we can have attempt an appropriate response. It's deep. Oh my goodness. Thank you so much. Questions from the audience. I just want to put it out there to Brahmatirtha Prabhu, Bob Cohen, if you're able to come on video, we'd love to bring you on. I know you've been on many of the calls here at Bhakti Yoga Conference. It would be fun to see you. If you're not able to, no stress at all. Nityananda Chandra, we got you. There's Bob Cohen. Let's get Brahmatirtha on the line. Reflections, questions. Beautiful to see you, brother.
Yeah, actually, I'm at my doctor's office getting examined for COVID, so I must unfortunately be a listener.
Okay. Well, we got your darshan for a moment. Thank you for being so committed and being here with us. We're sending our love, blessings, and gratitude down to sunny Florida, Brahmatirtha Prabhu, and blessings for a successful doctor's checkup. Okay, we got Swati hand up. I love it. Swati has been consistent last year, this year. The young generation. It's not dark. We can see you this time. Welcome.
Yes, thank you so much. Hare Krishna to everyone. So actually today's class was really amazing. I joined pretty late, so I had some of the opportunity to listen. So it was really reflecting class for me because I could reflect a lot on it. So there was this one question came up to my mind, that is purpose. So I have experience in this Indian household, like not just with me, even with the other people, that we are not really given a purpose, but we are when we are born, we are just said that you should become this, you should become that, and you should be up to this certain standard. And if you are not up to this certain standard, then you are just a useless kid. You shouldn't be even bother existing. And I have often seen my friends experience through this. So how do we actually find the purpose in our life? Because we have often put out to the competition, we don't even know what we are competing competing against, but we are just going on with the life, we are trying to find something. So how do we actually find our own purpose? Because I have often read the book and it says everyone has their own purpose. So how do we find that? That's why.
Beautiful question. All three of you are very qualified to respond. Andrew, please.
What a beautiful question, and great to meet you. Thank you so much for joining us. I would just say briefly, it occurs to me that part of the challenge or confusion around purpose or finding our purpose is the purpose having to do with our mind, body, and our attachment to that aspect of our being, or is our purpose related to something deeper, right? To our soul, to our spirit, to the eternal and infinite part of ourselves. And when I spoke earlier, when we've been talking with Marz and Raj and all of us about Montessori and the Bhakti path in general, we're really talking about a soul's journey, right? We're talking about what is our purpose in that sense. And so when we ask the question, well, how can I find my purpose? I think the best advice I could give to a young person is spend time in your quiet, in your practice, in your meditation, and ask the question, ask your soul or ask God, what is my purpose? And then be still and listen and see what emerges and see what comes. And maybe you won't get an answer in that moment, but maybe that day or that night you'll have a dream, or maybe the next day you'll be in town and you'll meet somebody, or you'll get a communication and that somehow feels right. And my teacher taught me that when you get a premonition or some insight, and you get a lot of joy with it or a lot of light, that is a positive sign. That when you get a message that fills you with some kind of a light or joy. So I humbly offer those as pathways, and but I'm 100% certain you will find your purpose.
Can I say something, Jack? Because someone put on chat this thing about patriarchy and the challenge for women, particularly young women, finding their purpose or their space due to patriarchy. Yeah. And as a father of a young girl, I can feel that too, and I want to name that directly. And so here's what this is not an answer, but this is an offering, Swati. And one is the practice of discernment. And so the way I understand global organizing culture that lives through patriarchy, that lives through capitalism, that lives through control, it's not out there, it's in us, all of us, right? And so I can remember my parents telling me to do this, do that, to go this way, to go that way in the competition. And what they were expressing to me was their fear, was their desire for certainty, was their desire for control. So the discernment is this: pay attention to messages that are about control and certainty and safety, because that's what organizing culture wants us to do, because then we start thinking smaller and smaller. That's a place of discernment. The second thought it would occur to me, and I don't know your context, I don't know the land that you live on, I don't know your ancestors, but the courage to say my purpose is not this, to start with knowing what your purpose might not be. And I don't know where that takes you, but that's the journey of life. So I wish I had an easier answer for you, but discernment and just the practice of saying, this is not who I am.
Beautiful.
That sounds kind of scary, but I hope with the Krishna's blessing, I'll definitely able to do that. So thank you so much for the answer. It really helped me. Hare Krishna, and today's class was really amazing. Thank you so much, everyone.
Thank you, Swati. Remind us where you're calling in from. Where we know in India. Whereabouts again?
I'm calling in from Mumbai.
From Mumbai. Beautiful. Well, we're sending our love blessings to our dear sister Swati in Mumbai. Thank you.
Thank you
It's
so
such
much.
a joy. Andrew is spot on. You will find your purpose. I mean, with that attitude, with that presence, it is inevitable. Let's bring it back stateside. Karnika. Welcome. It's so great to see you. Welcome back, Karnika.
Thank you so much, Jack. I'm happy to be over here. So I had a question. It's an extension of what Swati is going through. So I'm a mom, I have kids, and they are a part of this current education system, where I really want them to have that thinking, the open-mindedness. So where can I begin now? They are teens, preteens. Where do I start?
Well, Marz, you want to say something?
No. I let Raj give it a try.
Okay.
Because for one thing, I need to hear more discussion to understand the question. So,
okay,
yes.
She's asking that she has children, they're teens, and she's asking about they are immersed in and dealing with the system of the world that we're talking about, that Raj elucidated so well. And the question is, how do you support your children maintaining an open-minded attitude and an openness to finding your purpose and to spiritual principles?
Yeah.
I don't want to add too much to what you were asking, but
Right.
how do we do that?
Andrew, let Marz jump in. He's wanting to jump in.
No, I was just helping Marz to go ahead, Marz.
Thank you, thank you. I mean, this is what exactly this. Your question is what has brought the three of us together. You see, Andrew had to is expanding his school to include that the third 7 years of a youth's life, where he makes a decision as to how to confront the realities of the world, which is your question. Now, so the prerequisite is that the child has had early love, early living the teachings, a life which had proper support in the first 7 years. So we're working on that. This is what exactly these two gentlemen are doing, to find that answer. And we have done a lot of good work already. And I'm sure they will share with you. It's not a quick answer. It is, yes. And like Raj keeps saying, that it involves our genuineness, our authentic involvement. It involves that. Yes. Thank you for a beautiful question. It's something we need to live with and seek that answer. It's important because that's really why it's so appropriate, is because that's where the future leaders come from.
Okay.
And it's the leaders who are running the world. Yeah.
Raj, do you want to offer anything?
You go ahead, Andrew.
Yeah, I would just build on what Marz was saying and just offer a couple simple things, and that is, Marz used the words authentic and genuine. So my offering would be, stick with your genuine, authentic self when it comes to your spiritual practice and your values. I'm not in a position to tell you what to do, but I encourage you to share with your children what your values are, and to find opportunities to be with them in a space that is outside of or deeper than the noise of the everyday world. And whatever that means. So, spending time going into nature, or spending some intentional time where everyone is reading together and there are no devices. Going on some kind of exploration of art or something like that. Whatever that you can do that reinforces those values that you believe in, that gives you a chance to spend time with them. And maybe these are things you're already doing. And I can hear Raj's voice in me because I've come to treasure that voice, and I don't want to speak for him, but they might feel a lot of inner conflict about the world itself. And so being open to that discussion as well can be something very healthy for them, and not shying away from letting them share with you their anxieties or their worries, right? Or what it is they are conflicted about. Raj, is there anything you want to say?
Very briefly, Karnika, how old are your children?
One is 10 and one is 13.
Beautiful. And so my kids are a little bit older than yours, but I bet you know that this is true, that my kids were born with everything that they already needed in the world to be who they were as good human beings, right? And that what was actually required was an environment that allowed them to express their spirit. And I was just in my own messiness as a parent, and what I often would do, quite frankly, is bring my own fears and my own anxieties onto my kids. You've got to study, you've got to get this, you've got to do that. And so then all of a sudden, love became a transaction. My kids would feel like I've got to get A's in order to feel love. And that's a learning that I've had. And so I think for us as adults, it's not so much about doing something to the kids, but it's about doing our own journey and creating a space for kids to be who they are. But that's been my learning.
Wow. So excellent responses and beautiful
And
question.
honestly, talking to you guys right now, it really feels that what you said, they already came in this world with the things that they need. And it feels that I am already giving them those seeds, which you guys just told me. So we are on the right path. Thank you so much.
Wow. So beautiful. We're so happy to hear that. Well, we're sending our love to our dear sister on the path, Karnika. Beautiful question. Your heart is in the right place. So normally we're on time. We got one more hand up. You guys up for one more question, or are we gonna schedule? Is that good? Let's get Achinta Murti Devi Dasi. Please welcome back.
Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
So my question is like, I write books, like I shared that yesterday, right? And I take Bhagavad Gita class also bi-weekly. Okay. And I take Bhagavad Gita class to the teens and, their students. So there are certain families, correct, where we do preaching, and the families are like, in some families, we see that the husband and wife, like we are talking about the relationship, right? How the kids will grow and grow to a good leaders, correct? And to be a good human being, correct? In some families, we see that they're, the equation between the husband wife is not good. And the children are seeing that, right? And they're coming to me, correct, in that word Bhagavad Gita class, and they're sharing that. And sometimes the parents, they support that, correct, and they say that, and I take that in free from temple, right? They support that. Okay, go to that class and take some. And sometimes what happens, they just want their kids to be come out of that because their kids are becoming too spiritual, right? So how to convince such parents to bring their children to the class? Because we are doing that for them. Actually, we are trying to build a good society, correct? So how to convince them, like a spiritual society? That's my question.
Great question. I don't know if that's for you, Andrew, because you're probably dealing with a lot of parents of the children, or anybody who feels inclined to respond.
Yeah, so in the world of education, sometimes we say it's easier to talk to the children than to the parents. But that's not totally fair in the sense that it's just that the parents are dealing with levels of complexity and challenges that are really intense as well. And so I think that it's all about conversation with parents, and you kind of have to pick an entry point. Wherever they're at is where the conversation begins. And in other words, some parents are just really anxious and really their mindsets are quite fixed sometimes. But on the other hand, they might be ready to engage in a dialogue, usually centered around their children, right? And what's going on with their children, because ultimately every parent wants what's best for their child. So wherever there's an opening to talk to the parents, then you take that opening. And I can tell just from hearing from you that you're very grounded in the Gita and in spiritual ideas. So to the degree you can reference those or remind to use those, that would be great. But ultimately, the best thing you can do is to listen to parents and open your heart, and because they're carrying so much from ancestral times, from their own parents and grandparents, from modern society. And sometimes just being a listening ear is one of the greatest gifts you can give. And I have found offering parents a simple affirming message, like, you are such a good parent. You're such a caring parent. Or I see what you're carrying. I feel what you're dealing with. And sometimes that's all the affirmation that a parent needs. So these are some humble offerings, and I will mention that Raj and Marz and I are offering an inquiry for parents and educators, and school leaders coming up in April. To the degree you're inspired or interested in that, just contact us and we can tell you more about that. But this is exactly what we are going to be exploring. Again, not providing answers or quick solutions, but really allowing us to explore those qualities that Raj mentioned earlier: reciprocity, balance, relatedness, and so forth.
Wow.
Thank you.
So beautiful. Thank you so much for the response, Andrew. Beautiful question. Achinta Murti Devi Dasi. We're sending our love and blessings to you in Delhi, Mother India. Amazing. So great to see you again. I want to be, questions keep coming in here. So but I want to be respectful of all of your time because I'm sure you've got other commitments as well.
I'm fine.
You okay? Well, let's bring, maybe we'll say last one now. Karuna Govinda Prabhu, on the move.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji, Dandavad Pranam.
Hare Krishna, it's so great to see you. Where are you calling in from?
I'm calling right now from Vrindavan ISKCON Mandir, ISKCON Temple. Vrindavan.
ISKCON in Vrindavan. Wow.
Yeah. So I'm doing parikrama and hearing your lecture.
We're honored. We're honored.
Me and my wife, we both are leading a vanaprastha life here. I'm 70-year-old. My wife is 65. So we don't have any responsibility. Then we have decided 4 years back, and we came to Vrindavan. We are living in Vrindavan on vanaprastha.
Living in Vrindavan as vanaprastha. Beautiful.
There is a conflict. One conflict is there. We are originally from Hyderabad. India.
Yeah.
Yeah. Do you know, Prabhuji, Hyderabad is one of the temples out of 4 Prabhupada constructed in India after coming from US.
Right, yeah. Hyderabad is one of the 4 that Prabhupada constructed, coming from the US. Atreya Rishi is very familiar with that, yes. Do you have just in the essence of... I was just going to say, just in the essence of time, just, is there a...
Okay.
We'd love to keep hearing about your story, but is there a reflection or a question?
Yeah, my question is, there is a conflict between me and my wife that in Vrindavan, the sanitation conditions are very poor.
Sanitation is very poor in Vrindavan, and conflict between you and your wife.
Sanitation is very poor.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, she likes, I like it, but the only thing is, sanitation is very poor.
Okay.
Open drainage, and the no cleanliness, and the monkeys menace.
Monkeys, yeah.
Monkeys. Okay, Prabhuji, I'll talk to you later.
Did the monkey get you? Did the monkey get you? Are you back? There you are. Oh, we lost him. Well, maybe that was just a divine little moment Krishna arranged for us to have darshan of the ISKCON Krishna Balaram temple in Vrindavan. We'll send our love to Prabhu, but want to be respectful of your time. Maybe just parting words, maybe just a few words from each of the 3 of you for these sincere seekers and the many who will watch the recording. What would you leave us with?
Well, I'm grateful that you provided this opportunity for us, particularly for me to connect to the teachings and to the beloveds, to what is happening today after so many challenges that we faced upon departure of our spiritual master, and how everything is flourishing and finding connection with it. Thank you so much for your service.
Thank you.
I would just say, yeah, I would just add my thanks to you, Happy Jack, and to the service you're providing. It's so inspiring, so important and significant. And thank you to everyone that came today. It was very heartening to be with you all as in this conversation. Thank you.
Beautiful. Oh, we'll just get Raj off of mute. Oh, sorry, we double muted you. Just hit it once more.
Okay. Yeah, I also will offer my thanks and my gratitude to all of you all and for this particular conference. And I'm remembering that in this time of the Kali Yuga, we don't have to be alone. We can grieve alone. We can grieve together. We can pray together. We can have joy together. So maybe it's a time for us to create community together to allow all those experiences to live in and through us.
I love it. Beautiful. Well, thank the three of you so much for your time and wisdom. All of you are guides and mentors to me. And so for those who are watching the replay, we're going to have links to the Being Human curriculum. I'll get that from you guys. Get details on this April event. You know, we want to connect beautiful souls together to walk the path of love together. But really, all our gratitude, we're sending our love to the DC area, these beautiful souls, and to everybody here live with us. Wishing you a beautiful rest of the day. We got another call on the hour with Pranada, Devi Dasi. And until then, wishing you an amazing rest of the day. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.